Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived two dogs, Max and Bella. Max was a big, fluffy golden retriever with a heart as warm as the sun, and Bella was a small, energetic border collie with a playful spark in her eyes. They were the best of friends, spending their days exploring the fields, chasing butterflies, and getting into the occasional bit of mischief. But today was no ordinary day. It was a bright and beautiful morning, and the air was crisp with the scent of fresh grass. Max stretched his long, muscular legs as he woke up from a cozy nap under the large oak tree in their backyard. Bella, always the early riser, was already bouncing around, wagging her tail excitedly. She had a gleam in her eye, as if she had something in mind. "Good morning, Max," Bella barked with enthusiasm. Max yawned and blinked, shaking off the sleep from his big brown eyes. "Good morning, Bella. What's got you so excited?" "I think today is the day," Bella replied, her tail wagging furiously. "Today we are going to do something amazing." Max raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her words. "Something amazing? What do you have in mind?" Before Bella could answer, their owner, Mr. Thompson, stepped out onto the porch with a warm smile. Mr. Thompson was a kind and gentle man who loved his two dogs dearly. He was always proud of the good deeds Max and Bella did around the neighborhood. Whether it was helping the elderly neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, carry her groceries, or chasing away the mischievous squirrels that had been stealing fruit from the garden, the two dogs were always quick to lend a helping paw. "Max, Bella," Mr. Thompson called. "I need your help with something today." Both dogs perked up at the sound of their names. They ran over to Mr. Thompson, ready for whatever adventure awaited them. "I've been thinking," Mr. Thompson said. "You two are always so helpful. I think it's time you two did something really special for the whole village. I need you to go to the far end of the field and bring back some wildflowers for Mrs. Jenkins. She's been feeling a little down lately, and I'm sure these flowers will cheer her up." Max and Bella exchanged a look of excitement. This was the perfect opportunity to do something kind for someone else and prove that they were indeed the best dogs in the village. "We're on it," Max said, puffing out his chest. "Let's go, Bella," Bella barked, already sprinting toward the field with Max following closely behind. As they ran through the field, the sun shining down on their coats, they could feel the excitement building. They loved helping others, and today, they would do something truly special for Mrs. Jenkins. The journey to the wildflower meadow was not a short one. Max and Bella had to navigate through tall grass, cross a small creek, and climb up a little hill before reaching their destination. But neither of them minded. They were used to adventures like this. As they reached the creek, Bella paused for a moment to take a quick drink from the cool, clear water. Max, ever the big brother, stood guard, keeping an eye out for any signs of trouble. But it was a peaceful day, and all they could hear was the gentle rustling of the leaves in the trees and the soft chirping of birds in the distance. "Do you think Mrs. Jenkins will like the flowers we bring her?" Max asked, his voice full of curiosity. "I'm sure she will," Bella replied confidently. "She's always so happy when we help her. Besides, these wildflowers are the prettiest ones in the whole village." With that, they continued their journey, their paws patting softly on the earth. The closer they got to the wildflower meadow, the more vibrant the colors of the flowers became. Shades of purple, yellow, red, and pink swayed gently in the breeze, creating a beautiful sea of color. Max and Bella set to work immediately, sniffing out the most beautiful flowers and carefully picking them with their mouths. It wasn't as easy as it sounded, as the flowers were delicate and had to be handled with care. Bella, with her small but nimble mouth, was able to pick the flowers one by one and pass them to Max, who carefully carried them back to the basket Mr. Thompson had given them. After a little while, they had gathered a beautiful bouquet of wildflowers. They both stood back to admire their work. The flowers were so beautiful, they seemed to glow in the sunlight. "Do you think this will be enough?" Bella asked, looking at the bouquet in awe. Max nodded. "I think it's perfect." With their task complete, they set off for Mrs. Jenkins' house, eager to deliver the flowers and bring a smile to her face. Along the way, they passed familiar sights: the old oak tree where they often played, the tiny bakery where the smell of fresh bread always made their mouths water, and the busy market square filled with friendly villagers. As they neared Mrs. Jenkins' house, they noticed the elderly woman sitting on her porch, staring out into the distance with a sad expression on her face. Max and Bella's hearts went out to her. They had known Mrs. Jenkins for years, and they could tell she wasn't her usual cheerful self. "Let's hurry," Bella said, her tail wagging faster. When they finally arrived at the porch, Mrs. Jenkins looked up in surprise. Her eyes softened as she saw the two dogs standing there, holding the bouquet of wildflowers in their mouths. "Why, Max, Bella, what a lovely surprise!" Mrs. Jenkins exclaimed. "These flowers are simply beautiful. Where did you find them?" "We picked them just for you, Mrs. Jenkins," Max said proudly. "We thought they might cheer you up," Bella added with a happy bark. "We hope you like them." Mrs. Jenkins' face lit up with a bright smile, the first real smile they'd seen from her all week. "You two are such thoughtful dogs. These flowers are just what I needed. Thank you so much." The elderly woman gently patted each of them on the head, and Max and Bella wagged their tails in delight. They had done something good for someone else, and it felt wonderful. After the successful delivery of the flowers, Max and Bella trotted back to their house, exhausted but content. The day had been full of adventure and kindness, and they had done their best to bring joy to someone who needed it. But little did they know, Mr. Thompson had something special in store for them as a reward. As they entered the yard, Mr. Thompson was waiting for them on the porch, a big grin on his face. "You two did an amazing job today," he said, kneeling down to give them both a good belly rub. "I couldn't be more proud of you." Max and Bella looked up at him with sparkling eyes, their tails wagging furiously. They loved getting attention and praise from their favorite human. Mr. Thompson continued, "You've earned something special. I think it's time for a well-deserved treat." At that moment, Mr. Thompson reached into the bag he was holding and pulled out two large, juicy bones, each bigger than Max's head and perfect for a feast. The smell of the bones was so tempting that Max and Bella's mouths watered instantly. "Here you go," Mr. Thompson said, handing them each a bone. "Enjoy." Max and Bella wasted no time. They dug into their bones with gusto, savoring every bite. It was the best meal they had ever had, juicy, tender, and filled with all the flavors they loved. They ate happily, knowing they had done something good and were being rewarded for their kindness. After they finished their feast, they both lay down on the cool grass, full and content. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the village, and Max and Bella curled up together, side by side. "It's been a great day," Max said with a satisfied sigh. "Yep," Bella agreed, her eyes fluttering shut. "We did a good deed, and we got a tasty reward. I think we're the luckiest dogs in the world." As they drifted off to sleep, their dreams filled with more adventures and more good deeds to come, Max and Bella knew that the best rewards in life weren't always the treats or the praise, but the joy of helping others and making the world a better place, one good deed at a time. And so, they lived happily ever after, always ready for the next adventure and the next chance to make someone smile.